Greetings. Managing Epidemics with Consumer Wearables, Jackson State University. Authors are Dr. Hines, Dr. White, Ms. Jones, Dr. Davidson, Dr. Berhie, Dr. Ikem, Dr. Azevedo, Dr. Pizzetta, and Ms. Sheila Malone. A body of scientific publications have well-documented racial and ethnic health disparities in the United States. African Americans are disproportionately represented in lower socioeconomic ranks, lower quality schools, inadequate housing, and lower paying jobs. Mississippi has high concentrations of poverty correlated with the levels of poor health. The rate of chronic diseases disproportionately impacts African Americans compared to non-Hispanic whites. The COVID pandemic and its variants have revealed the potential for health systems to transform their relationships with technology. This study was conducted to understand the beliefs, barriers, and attitudes of African Americans towards using consumer wearables on tracking their health, including COVID-19 and its variants, and to understand the attitudes of African Americans on how wearables devices could support the health outcomes of individuals and communities in Mississippi. Here you see a map of the three health regions of Mississippi. This study used a myth method research design. A 50-question survey was developed to solicit information from college students from Jackson State University and community religious leaders in Mississippi. Information was also obtained through online and face-to-face focus groups. Descriptive statistics employing frequencies, percentages, means, and standard deviations were used. Differences between the groups were calculated. Statistical analysis was performed using SPSS software. Here you see that we conducted 152 surveys, and that included 24 out of 82 counties in Mississippi. In this study, three main research questions drove the query process and shaped the research design. The first question: what knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs about consumer wearables determine their use among Jackson State University students and leaders within the African American faith community? There was much greater acceptance of smartwatch technology among student populations in the African American faith community as a whole. However, both groups were equally aware of these devices' strengths and drawbacks. The second question: what factors such as educational classification, income levels, and geographic distribution influence people's need for wearable devices? Our research showed that age, education, and income levels significantly affected the acceptance of innovative technologies. The research project investigated the influence of student classification and geographic factors on likelihood of wearable technology acceptance, and found that the use and ownership of consumer wearables used, such as soft smartwatches, utilized by a younger generation of African American consumers as fashion pieces, with a secondary interest in them being monitoring devices. On the other hand, faith-based leaders, generally older than student population, more readily identified these devices regarding their health monitoring properties. Question 3: how can the basic findings from this research be leveraged as a vehicle for strengthening trust, partnerships, and collaborative engagement with universities and HBCU and the African American community, which provides 95% of its enrollments? One of the givens in this research was a general awareness of the long-standing history of institutional discrimination against communities of color, including long-standing distrust of government and health agencies. Faith-based community leaders were less likely to own a smartwatch compared to students, and those who often did stated during the town hall engagement that they were unaware of their health monitoring advantages. Several faith-based leaders and students expressed the desire to better understand the benefits. Participants expressed consistent concern about the loss of privacy and vulnerability and misuse due to hackers and unauthorized access of employers. These results suggest that strengthening the trust of African Americans can result in increased use of consumer wearables among this population. And we know that increased use of consumer wearables could assist in addressing health disparities and support positive outcomes among African Americans. Here are church leaders that were involved in the project. This grant was funded by the Kellogg Foundation. Thank you.